Drives her crazy. Hey, make it a great. It's like when I was growing up, we used to watch Good Morning America, and the guy was, "Go make it a great day." I'm like that. Have a great day. And she's like,
Did you always have this energy, or was it really?
Yeah.
Even growing up.
Yeah, my dad had it. I kind of caught it from him, I guess.
Yeah.
But I like it.
Were you into this stuff in high school, like when you were growing up?
Yeah.
You were?
Yeah.
So you were obsessed with what, just financials and stock
I
market?
just liked it. I liked business. I like business. I mean, one of the things that has made it different for me is that when I talk to business, like I talked to Al Kelly today. Today was Al's last day at Visa. We met him at the Super Bowl in 2012.
2018.
No, we met him at the Seahawks one. When was that?
Okay.
Yeah, and he called me to thank me for liking business and for mentioning that he thought I said he did a good job. I said, well, yeah, your stock tripled. You made a fortune for people. You gave a big dividend. What's not to like? He goes, well, there's people who are critical of me. I said, Al, I have no idea what those people are about. You're Hall of Fame. You want to criticize Hall of Fame, be my guest. I think Hall of Fame stands out. And he was like, he gets choked up. But the fact is he's a fantastic CEO. He's gave it up after 10 years because that's what they do at that company. Charlie Scharf had the job before he went to, he retired. Then he came back to run Wells. But these are titans. Al Kelly's a titan. Visa was a $200 billion company. When he started, it's a $500 billion company, for heaven's sake. I mean, and he was like, geez, do you think I did a good job? I said, what are you talking about? I was like,
measured by that growth alone?
Do you think Andy Reid sits back and says, do you think I did a good job?
Probably.
Yeah. Well, to Tammy, his wife. So anyway, what do we need to do?
Wow.
We're all yours.
Well, we've already started kind of just
we're
breaking the ice
rolling.
with
We're
some
rolling.
stuff.
Good, I like that.
This
is great.
If we're rolling,
Well,
then
yeah.
I've rolled too hard
Oh.
with my
you gotta
wife's
freshen
fabulous
yourself up.
mezcal. I did a little
grab
too
a
much
bot-
rolling.
You need a little freshen up, a little fresher up.
When you get
Here, I can
it.
fresh-
I'm
oh,
busy
okay.
talking.
Well, we have it right here. You can crack
geez.
one of these.
Let me go with my wife's Pinka.
Go ahead. Just crack
Damn
it
it.
open. No, the pink is the other one, John.
No, that's it. No, he's got the right one.
I'm sorry.
Good call.
This was blocked.
Here he goes again.
No,
Here he goes again.
This was blocked.
Oh, you couldn't see the black and the
swear-
white.
I swear, this blocked my eye. I'm like,
Look, she designed the bottle. It's very interesting. You were saying earlier about what a bottle looks like, how important it is. Tom Mass is one of our partners who did rum chata. The first time I said, listen, Lisa and I are thinking about getting a liquor business. And he goes, okay, bottle, distribution, taste. I said, no, taste. But she
Bottle,
listened.
distribution,
It was a little-
taste.
Well, he's saying it's
It was
a
a
third.
more comprehensive conversation.
Right. Well, he's just
than
saying that
what-
the bottle matters.
What my
Thank
global
you.
ambassador for taste is boiling it down
Right.
to.
Oh.
Well, it just that I didn't
Oh.
understand the importance, and she did.
That's
And she
interesting.
kept designing it. I said, "Well, you just get the damn bottle out. They would just get the bottle. It was ceramic. I wanted ceramic." And then
No, I tried ceramic. And,
Well, try
and
anything.
I told you in the beginning it would
won't
not
work.
work.
Well, the black, the pink, it looks ceramic. I mean, not
So
obviously
there's
it's glass.
actually
But,
a tradition in Mexico of storing mezcal in black ceramic.
oh, okay.
And so that is a bit of a nod. That whole bottle is a nod to Puebla,
Tribute to,
Tobola, the history of mezcal, anything that,
all right. So
I could
here we are. We're diving
understand.
right into
Yeah.
the spirit of choice, which is the Fósforo Mezcal.
Well, we're
right?
honored
We
to
have-
be
Yeah.
on your
great
podcast.
to have- it's
Cheers,
great-
Val.
it's great
Yeah,
to-
I can't taste water.
It's great
that you
Lisa's
do,
driving.
and the origination that you have, and that your taste and your understanding, as she has, of the greatness.
Yeah, well, Lisa's this is her passion now, right? So, Lisa, I'm going to introduce you of way of sorts to anyone who's certainly listening. Thousands and thousands of people that are probably going to listen to this, and you have a background that's similar to mine. We have a lot in common, you and I.
Really?
So, yep. So you're
Tell me.
in the real estate market business for over 18 years. Yes. Right? How was that? Right? Fun?
I'm
Fun.
laying it a little bit low because I got something
Of
else
course.
taking up my time.
Yeah, and it's a good time to lay it low because it's low. It's real estate's low, and we're going to talk to the big guy about some of that. But I'm in real estate market as well as an investor, but in mortgage financing for 30 years. So over 30 years in the real estate business, our common thread, real estate. The other common thread, which may be a shocker to some, is alcohol and real estate somehow intertwine. right? They somehow, those who are in the real estate market tend to enjoy the alcoholic spirits, right? So now you've come up with this next project, I guess, that's on the forefront. And so tell us a little bit about the difference between this mezcal, your, baby here, and some of the other products that might be out there.
So Fósforo is a mezcal made in Puebla. Puebla, Mexico just got its designation from the Mexican government about 4 or 5 years ago for the production of mezcal. The Mexican government heavily regulates tequila production, and they have started to do a little bit of that in mezcal production. But there are about 12 or 13 states in Mexico that are allowed to produce mezcal. Puebla just got its CRM recently. So there aren't a lot of products on the market that are made in Puebla. Happy to say this is made from a Tobalá plant, which is otherwise known as the king of the agave or the butterfly agave, because it has these beautiful arches on the outside of its leaves, otherwise known as its pencas. It's a plant that takes about 8 to 15 years to maturity, so
Right.
it's
So
a
it sits
long,
in the ground.
long
It's going to
living
get a
plant.
lot of the earth. It's going to
Yes.
get a lot of its flavor from.
Yeah.
Right. Unlike the other mezcals that are made with the.
No, actually, I think this is what differentiates mezcal from tequila, because tequila is heavily regulated and tequila has to be made with 51% blue agave. There are limited numbers of agaves that can be used to produce tequila. It has to be blue agave in its base. Mezcal can be made with up to 40 different varieties. And so agave grows all over Mexico. It grows in the lowlands, it grows in the highlands, it grows in high water concentration, low water concentration. So each of those factors affect what kind of plant
End product and
is
flavor
being
you're gonna get,
produced.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yep.
And then even the process of mezcal making.
That's cool. That's a great story,
yeah.
right?
Yeah,
I
it
mean,
really
that's
is.
something I don't know if have you ever seen a video on how they do it? You understand how they?
I've seen like little clips, but never
Yeah.
in depth. And you guys, that's the reason why you started this, right? You went there and experienced it yourself?
So actually, we have a house in San Miguel de Allende.
Right.
So we've been going to Mexico for 20 years.
That sounds like an invitation, by the way.
Yeah, it
Isn't that
is.
what you said?
Absolutely.
I took it.
Oh my
I
gosh,
took it.
I can't believe we're going.
Done your
Right.
way.
Absolutely.
Done your
Let's
way.
go.
Oh, so you want to
Yeah.
travel so bad?
Without a doubt.
One thing at a time, Jim.
Friendliest town. Never locked the door ever.
It's an amazing place.
Okay.
Amazing place. But we stayed out really late one night in the center of San Miguel. And we were at a restaurant in town in Centro. And we were talking to some of the guys who work in the kitchen. Like, what are you doing later? What's going on in Centro? Are you going to a bar? Are you going to a club? Da, da, da. And one of them brought out this plastic milk jug filled with homemade mezcal. And we had it that night for the first time. And Jim, who had always been a single malt Scotch drinker,
Snob.
yeah, total
Jackass.
snob, yeah, pretty much, switched that night, and it was very strange.
Wow.
And that was probably, I don't know,
Long
16
time
years ago.
But what's interesting is that I didn't want it because of the same
Why? And why didn't you want
Because of
it?
the same prejudice that a lot of people have toward mezcal, which is I don't want some low life with worm nonsense.
Yeah.
And, because I was uneducated. And you can't give everyone a drink of mezcal for them to know that it's not the mezcal that they thought. But what they were giving me was, even though it was in a plastic jug, had all the qualities I liked of Lagavulin, which is my favorite, a little like Lefroy, but lighter, and not the kind of thing that I would ever, I would say that you can't make a drink out of Lagavulin. You drink Lagavulin, sort of. I saw a canvas of what you could do. Now, see, someone with your talent can take what we're doing and take it to another level.
Yeah, have some
But
fun with it.
I'm also happy to drink it straight out.
Yeah.
And it's funny because you say that you saw the canvas, but yet every time you take a drink of mezcal, you have it straight up.
Well, I mean, I'm in the presence of creativity. If I knew how to make a damn drink, I would probably do it. I mean, I think it's a big deal when you have the big rock. It's
Yeah,
like a big rock.
well, we talked about that, and,
Yeah.
and the interesting part is, so this is really the first time I've got to sip it and enjoy it. Right.
Yeah.
The first time we met, we tasted it in these little. We were in the diner.
And it was breakfast.
Yeah, it was breakfast.
Good diner.
Yeah,
Although that was a
made it.
nice time to taste it. I'll be honest
Jersey
with you.
diners, can we
Before-
just say,
before we ate?
Jersey
yeah.
diners are fabulous.
Jersey
Cheers to
diners
that,
lead
too.
the way. But so anyway, that being said, now I'm getting to sip it and enjoy it and understand the differences, and even some of the things that Lisa you started to talk about was not only the plant and how long it sits in the ground and what it gets from the earth, which is very important. It's that process after harvest and how they bake it.
Yeah.
All right, but the baking process, and you tell me if I'm missing something here, but after they harvest it and they cut it down, they have to lay it in a strategic pit so that it all fits with a purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So a pit is dug in the ground, and most palenques, which is the place where you make mezcal, have existing pits in the ground that are lined with brick. And if fire is started in the pit, mostly of mesquite and oak wood, spread out, and then the peñas, which are the harvested centers of the heart of the agave,
After
are,
they cut all the leaves off,
yep,
right? Yep, got
are
it.
put into the pit, covered in dirt,
Yes,
covered in plastic,
Yes.
usually,
yes.
Ceremoniously blessed
Very
and
important, yeah.
thanked, and then they're left there for 8 to 10 days, usually.
And they pour water on top, which is interesting, right? They pour some water on top, and
That's only for this. It's not all places do that. That's only for a steam. If somebody is
okay.
looking for a
All right.
different method
Oh,
of
okay,
production
gotcha,
for
gotcha, okay.
steam, the pits are left, and it's amazing. The Palenque is this very alive place. There are animals running around. There's the turkey that's about to be, killed for the
Thanksgiving,
pachuga.
yeah.
There's, fires going all the time, harvesting going on. So once the agave is roasted, it's taken out of the ground and chopped up. And there are several methods by which it can be chopped up. It can be chopped up using a tona, which is an old-fashioned stone that
Yep.
goes around. Our Palenque happens to use a very fast method. It's cut with a machete into pieces and thrown through a wood chipper.
Oh, really?
Which
Yeah.
is
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, which creates that kind of pulp, and then the pulp is put into old wooden barrels and left uncovered, covered in water. And the naturally occurring yeast in the air actually ferments the liquid.
Wow.
And the mezcalero, again, he's a fourth generation. He's a guy who's learned this as a child from his father and his father's father. He knows when the yeast is kind of done its job and has created a liquid that is then distilled.
Right, they know, they taste it. If it needs to stay or,
Yeah.
leave it there a little longer.
And it's amazing
Yeah.
to see these pits because these pits are alive. There's bubbling going on. There's stuff moving around, and there's no air in the, no wind in the air, but it's the activity of the yeast that is causing
Sure.
this stuff to happen.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
That's
it's really
chemistry.
cool.
I mean, this is why, we enjoy the end result.
down to
Yeah.
the Pearls method of finding
That's for the percentage
the
of alcohol.
percentage of alcohol.
Yeah.
It's a chemistry lesson, how much
Yeah,
alcohol you have
exactly.
How long of a process is that normally?
It depends upon the weather. If you have, cloudy, gross days, you're probably going to get yeast that's a little bit more sluggish. If you have light, windy, hot days, it's going to be a whole nother thing. And it's pretty incredible how it is dependent upon what's going on outside.
So I guess when do you know it's finished?
The mezcalero is,
He's the
he knows.
Sure.
Yeah,
It's
you're
not me
banking on it.
calling it.
right.
That's for
obviously.
sure.
But Lisa found as a husband and wife, and Lisa correctly, after going to many, many different places, correctly discern character.
Absolutely.
People who really understand the importance to her. And you make Marianne?
Yeah. We went down there and the Palenque, the mezcalero and his wife always put on a big meal for visitors. It's, a sign of respect and part
Sure.
custom.
And you're probably hungry.
yeah,
gotta eat.
absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
But
You
it's
made
a
the
lot of
travel.
work because you're out in the middle of nowhere. And Mariana, who's the mezcalero's wife, is cooking and cleaning. So of course I ran in and helped her in the outside kitchen. And
I was doing my part the whole time I was drinking.
yeah, you were doing
I
your
did.
job.
I did exactly
You're
what
the
you're supposed to do.
ambassador. You're the ambassador, sure.
And Mariana, so Aron, who is the mezcalero, is truly a genius at farming. He's figured out a way to semi-cultivate a lot of the agave that don't reproduce by shooting out little tiny plants. He actually harvests seeds and then has nurseries growing. He spent a lot of time acquiring land around him and planting semi-cultivated agave. So he knows when a plant is ready, he knows the mezcal production, but it's really his wife who handles the business element of it. And, she and I talked about this collaboration and what we were going to do. And, between Google Translate and WhatsApp, we figured out that we were both kind of in line.
Cool. And here we are.
Yeah,
we're enjoying
here we are.
the fruits of the labor, as they say, right?
Yeah.
And that's a great story.
It's pretty
It was
amazing.
interesting the first time that it was shared with me, with you when we met you guys, and Jimmy had shared it with me on the telephone and the differences. So yeah, you guys are on your way. You have a great product.
Thank you.
You're all over social media in respects. I know your commitment to making sure people understand the story and get an opportunity to try it.
Yeah.
They should try it because it's worth it. It is at a price point that is going to be for a special occasion,
Yeah, it's definitely
right?
very
We want to be
Very fair way
respectful
to put
too.
it.
It's not.
Yeah.
It's not for everybody for a first purchase, but it is definitely. When people ask us, I want to get my dad, I want to get my mom, I want to buy my, my wife, my significant other, a special gift. This is a great opportunity. This is what you want to buy. It's different.
Thank you.
No one else is going to have it, and you will not be disappointed in it. So, cheers again
cheers.
to you guys for
Thank
that.
you.
Thank
Salud.
you.
Yeah.
Thank
So,
you, sir.
but thanks again for that story. I want to actually just pivot a little bit to the guy in the suit.
Yeah.
And for those who are watching and listening, believe it or not, Jim, there's a younger generation of people that say, Jim Cramer, wait, isn't that guy that was on Living Color and he was dancing? That's not the Cramer, that's the wrong guy. That's the Seinfeld, you're way off. Okay. So this guy, before there was the iconic ring tap and the soundbite of Emeril Lagasse that went bam.
Bam.
There was a guy who came up with this catchphrase,
Booyah.
"Booyah!"
No, say it loud.
Which was
Come
from
on,
radio.
give me the real
give us a
booyah.
Booyah!
There
That
you
was
go.
from radio.
Yeah.
Because I used to have a radio show for many years, and I had callers, and someone had made a lot of money with, I don't talk about this much, but someone made a lot of money with one of the things I'd recommended. And he was from the NOLA, it was my affiliate. They were a great affiliate. And he said, look, I don't know I'm not going to imitate a Southern accent because I'm just not good at that, but I don't know what you people up north say when someone has made you a lot of money. But down here we say, booyah.
Wow.
And the next day, a woman from Manhasset called, and she goes, I heard that Southern fellow say booyah, and I too made money on that, so booyah.
Wow.
And then, of course, my
became
producer
it.
said
Wow.
to me, do you know that I screened a bunch of calls, and everyone was fascinated by that term. Do you mind if I put a bunch of people through who are going to say booyah? And I said, frankly, you're in radio. I'm talent. But the next day, and then the next day, and then, by the way, when I left radio, I moved over to TV.
What year are we in, by the way?
This is 2001 to 2006. When I left radio in 2006, because I was getting nodes in my throat because I was speaking so many words.
And you scream a lot.
And I scream. I scream way too much.
Does he ever?
What happened is that in the first call I got on the show, because I had lightning rounds, says, hi, this is, it's going to be like Pete from Denver. And before I get started, I just want to say, booyah! And I'm like,
Love it.
oh my God.
Wow.
The radio guys are listening to the TV show. So again,
So cool.
it's all organic,
So
and people
cool.
like to hear it, and that's how it started.
Now, is that trademarked? Is that something? Have
I
you
did not
trademarked that?
trademark.
All right,
Booyah.
make a
And
note.
I-
Maroof,
think
trademark
it's
that.
good.
I bet you
take that
Bam.
one.
I bet you Bam's trademark.
Well, I'm gonna trademark Booyah.
I don't think you can trademark Booyah.
You can't trademark a statement.
common.
Why?
It's
He
not like
didn't
it's
make- he
putting
didn't
it
make
on
it up.
a
He's
label.
Booyah. Who else says Booyah except the guys down south?
I don't know, plenty-
Well, that's
well,
true.
the
All
people
right.
down south.
All right. So let's. You know what? I want to like just keep on this
Sure.
line, just on this line a little
I
bit.
usually don't talk about
So-
this stuff, which is good.
So, my first encounter with you as a younger guy, I'm 10 years younger than you, and in the early 2000s.
You're 35.
I'm
I had to give it a
actually
shot.
you and I.
Yes,
Come on, give it a shot.
You and I. We're 5 days away. Your birthday's the 10th. Mine's the 5th of
Right.
February.
Wow.
So that's
Wow,
why we
you're
get
s-
along too,
you're
my
talking
man.
about
There's like a
Coming
huge.
out. Happy birthday.
Yeah,
Total-
yeah.
no, that
I'm the
is-
5th.
I actually
You're
believe
the
in stuff
10th.
like that.
You're the 10th, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
I
Okay,
am
good.
indeed.
So that's good. And so, sorry about that, Jimmy. There's Jimmy back there. Sorry about that. So
The sound of ice.
that's our phone a friend connection.
We can't hear that.
All right, well, I
They
heard
hear
it.
you
I'm
now,
sorry.
disturbing
Sorry
you.
about that. Sorry. So back to our point. Not only we share a very small window of birthdays, but I was first introduced to you, and financial markets, unless you're in them or you're really astute, they're boring, and they're a little unnerving. They're unnerving, and what you did for me personally, and I know a lot of other people, is you made it interesting to watch. Like you made it comfortable to want to like ask questions, and that's important because a lot of people wouldn't ask questions because they didn't want to seem like they're stupid. And you made it like and you first did the Mad Money show with all the bells and the whistles, literally the bells and the whistles. Those who don't know who he is, I should have said it earlier. Go Google it, go YouTube it, check him out, because you created a movement. You created a movement for a lot of people to become genuinely interested in their money. And I've listened to you for a long time, and I'm certain there's a benefit to a lot of younger people that need to re-engage with a guy like you.
Well, first of all,
Yeah.
thank you, Johnny. I am restarting after multiple years of absence my college tour, going around the country. I've done 19 colleges. I'm going to be in University of Miami.
Cool.
I know we've got different time constraints here, but I'm University of Miami. I've got a lot of other schools I want to go to. But the main thing I have tried to do was explain it as if I was talking to my mom.
Yep, you do.
Now, my mom, when I was at Goldman Sachs, she would call me. My mom was sick. And she would say, she used to call me at the opening every day. She goes, Jimmy, I want to buy 5 shares of Giant, which was a supermarket chain.
supermarket, right.
And I say, Ma, I don't know if you'd like that. And she said, well, why? I like the shop there. I said, well, Ma, there's other things involved. They've got these big competitors, and, Walmart's moving into grocery, and it's a very hard business. She goes, yeah, but you see, Jimmy, my store is very nice. I said, absolutely, Mom, but, there's 500, and we don't know whether the others are that nice. And I realized, when you're talking to your mother, you can't be a smartass, all right? You can't say, Ma, are you like kidding me? What the hell do you know about Joe? No, stop it. She's trying to learn. She's countering my objections with personal insight that is better than I have, and you meld it together. And that's what I try to do. I talk about this with Lisa a lot, which is that if you think that you know everything, then you know nothing. And
Yeah.
I find that when I discuss stocks with people, they are Louise Cramer. And you better remember who they are, because otherwise you've forgotten where you're from. And I'm very proud of the fact that I think I got my mom from point A to point B, where she understood that it was not enough to like a store. You had to know how a company was doing.
Sure. Yeah.
And if I can do that, then I've
Oh,
got
that's
I've gotten
awesome.
somewhere.
Yeah, you
That's
have.
kind of
Yeah, you
my
have.
mom is the person who's watching, and I'd like to think her grandson's watching. We got to get them all.
Yeah.
But
You-
it's commercial.
Yeah, you've gotten somewhere, and then you've come back, and you're going to reinvent yourself. And so
thank you.
That's some of what I was trying to explain to John when we were talking about this. And again, he knows who you were, knows who you are better today than even before we first introduced
Thank you.
the name. And I'm like, this is an iconic person, and you created what you have in your world and earned every bit of it. And a lot of people don't understand what that takes sometimes. We talked before.
I'm out there.
Yeah, you're out there. You don't sleep a lot. You put your energy in every day, and there's no doubt that that's going to translate into so many other things.
I'm blessed. Lisa is my strength.
Yep.
I can come back, and there's a safety zone where no one.
Yep.
Lisa
Always.
can make me understand that no matter what they said about me, it was a good day. It was a good day.
Yeah, it's good to come home to somebody that actually appreciates it, right? Yeah.
Or doesn't sometimes.
Maybe not every day, but
not every
once
day.
in
I
a
come home and
while,
pour
it's
a
okay.
big mezcal, and it's Wednesday. She will remind me it's post-pandemic. That was cool. You had that pandemic excuse for it.
Yeah.
But the pandemic excuse went what?
Right.
For that Monday drinking?
Oh yeah. Oh,
It's Tuesday.
Wow.
Well, if it wasn't for
Tuesday
that,
podcast.
Johnny Drinks was born during the pandemic. That's how it
that's
started
so
for us.
true.
And I think it's fantastic.
Yeah.
Thank
It
you.
came to
So
us.
one
Social
day
media
you
came
turned
to
the
us.
camera on your father and said, "Make me a drink."
That was pre-quarantine. It was right before it.
February.
And then video did really well, and we had nothing else to do, kind of like Jim's saying. And we're like, let's just keep drinking and keep filming it. And that's where
we own
that's
Bar
where it
San
went.
Miguel in Brooklyn, and the artistry that you bring to it is very unusual.
Oh, thank you.
Very unusual.
He's actually
Cool.
not a bartentender.
Well, no, I'm a home tender.
Well,
I never
Yeah,
professed to
home
be.
tender.
That's the ironic part of the brand.
Yeah.
Like, look, I mean, was Mozart's birthday yesterday?
No, 2 days.
2 days ago. He was like the only guy who was actually trained. Right? I mean, most of these other guys are freelancers.
Listen, yeah.
Like Beethoven, big freelancer.
That's like him. He's a freelancer.
Beethoven.
It's a
You're
Beethoven.
using
That's a good
you're
analogy.
using Beethoven and Johnny Drinks in the same sentence.
Well,
There you
wow.
go.
What the hell?
Write that down.
Wow,
There you go.
Maroof, do something with that, will you?
So I love that story about your mom, and I think other people should learn from that and apply that to, like you said, not only their mothers but people in general. I think people like to gatekeep a lot of things and make themselves feel smarter, and they don't want other people to know what they know.
I mean, I see it in sports a lot because I follow
Right.
sports, and there'll be people who. I mean, I once had Andy Reid say something to me. It was very funny. He's the coach of the Chiefs. I said to him, Coach, I was thinking, what would happen if you lined up Westbrook, not to the right but to the left, have him out about another 5 yards. Make it so you put him up a little, and then you had a wide receiver around. He
kidding
goes,
me.
here's what would happen. You're a fan, and you don't know anything, and that's what would happen.
There you go.
Nothing. And I was like, no. See, Coach, I've watched every game. He goes, that's great, Jim. I bet you've enjoyed that. So, but I've gained a level of, and he goes, you've gained nothing. But players, huddle up. He calls all the players over. He whistles. He goes, this guy's name's Jim Cramer.
No way.
He will give his business card to anybody who wants. If anyone has a question about stocks or their money, Jim, would you help them? I said, absolutely. I did it for years. I only got 2 phone calls.
Really?
I
Wow.
got 2 phone calls.
Wow.
And they were both from guys who were very smart, who wanted to know what penny stocks, whatever, And I said to them something that I learned very early when I was at Goldman Sachs. You only need to get rich once. Don't lose your money. Then have to get rich a second time. You'll
Yeah.
be too old.
Isn't that something,
And they're
right?
all
Yeah.
they're 2 very grateful people. I put one of them in bonds. He said, no, I want action. I said, you a lot of on-field action. Don't need the off-field action.
Isn't that interesting? That's a profound statement right there. You work so hard to earn your money. Well, keep it. Okay, it's what you save, right? It's just
Well,
let's
you
protect
and
it.
Lisa,
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be stocks. I learned that real estate. I didn't know. Lisa bought some apartments, and I thought she was out of her mind because they weren't FHA approved. But that was their strength.
Yeah.
I said, this is not FHA approved. She goes, well, Jim, professionals know that that's opportunity. Amateurs are scared.
That's interesting. So real estate was a question,
Yeah.
Lisa, and we have that in common, and Jim. I'm just curious, so both of you, we have in front of us now a very testing, trying, difficult time because there's not a lot of real estate inventory for sale. We have people in homes that are at 3%, some sub 3% interest rate at a price when they bought, which was inflated, right? So now they have lost equity and they're boxed in. Right, they're boxed into their home because they can't sell it, and then there's nothing to buy. So where do you think the bottom is? Because people ask me this, and I've already put my opinion out there, not necessarily in a podcast. But Where do you think the bottom is? Like, where are we headed? And what do we have to buckle our chin straps up for?
I think the bottom is by the fall of 2023.
Wow.
Fall.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
That's
it's
very
fast.
close.
Wow.
All the numbers, the inflation numbers are starting to change. The cost of goods is starting to
Yeah,
change.
yep.
Interest rates are going down.
Yeah.
And I think the pent up demand for property is kind of going to unleash itself the second there's a good bit of news. And
Okay.
Yeah. I
Okay,
think it's
so
soon.
so stay with that a second.
Okay,
So
will.
just to quantify it for those who are interested, you said the fall, and listings in your hometown are lower. We know they are. In my hometown of 50,000 people, 22 square miles, there's probably 30, 35.
That's incredible.
Okay, there's pending, which make the number look a little higher, but
Yeah.
as soon as they all close, it's 30,
Percentage.
35
Yeah.
listings.
It's an infinitesimal
It's scary,
percentage.
right? That's scary. I talked to, I have another second home down the shore area, and normal this time of year listings are 1,100 to 1,279.
Yeah.
Okay, so that being said,
So what town are you in down the shore?
well, down the shore, it's Ocean City, New Jersey.
Okay.
Okay, and here,
So you're down the
Passaic
shore. I
County.
knew. In Philadelphia,
Yeah.
we say down the shore.
Down the
Yeah.
shore.
Right?
Right.
Yeah.
I'm right. So, so that's a real number. I'm an optimist. I'm eternally optimistic about everything. But you said the fall 2023, and
Yeah.
that means we haven't seen anything yet. If I'm hearing that right, is that pretty much the case?
But I don't think it's going to be a crash landing.
No,
I
it's
think
just-
prices have come down a little bit. People are waiting a little
Yeah.
longer to sell.
Yeah.
People are, tiptoeing into the market and they're buying because they have to buy, and they're getting some concessions on pricing. But,
Sure. Yeah.
But it's funny. I mean, I follow from the stock perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the home building companies, and by the way, I mean, as we know, these are no longer our father's home building companies. These are, great companies like Lennar and Toll and D.R. Horton and Pulte Homes. These are really good companies, really well run.
Yep.
They're not overly
Sure.
Their balance sheets are fabulous. KB Homes balance sheet, they reported recently, the balance sheet's gorgeous, buying back stock. But the thing that, where they're being hurt is that a lot of them moved into the hot cities. So when you're in Memphis, you're in North Carolina, you're in parts of Florida, even back again with the Imperial Valley, they did it again. Austin, overbuilt, and they're giving big concessions. I mean,
Rebate,
big
yeah,
concessions.
sure.
500,000 to sell for 400. Way long inventory. But then there's these other parts of the country that are still under, like you just mentioned in Wayne.
Yeah.
They're so underserved that, but there's environmental rules, whatever. But
Sure.
right now we got two markets. We got these markets that are just doing nothing. They're frozen, like you described. And then there's these markets where they're price cutting like hell because they overbuilt because they heard that there was no end to how many people want to live in Memphis.
Yep.
No end in
Yep.
Nashville.
Sure.
But
No end.
Sure.
that will end too.
Sure.
I
Oh,
think
and it's
giving
bad.
it 9
Oh, yeah.
months is
Yeah.
plenty of
It's
time. I just
bad.
bought a place in Asbury for rent.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she did
as
some
an
real
investment.
good investment.
It was the time, and luckily I bought it before rates went up, and I've just been fixing it up, getting it ready.
But you'll be okay. That
Yeah.
rental passive
Right.
income's fine. That's a sweet spot.
Absolutely.
There's nothing wrong.
Exactly
That's where
right.
that's where the opportunity is. If you have the courage.
But I don't
to
buy
step into it.
passive income if it's not a market that will then sell.
Okay, sure, understood.
So
Yeah. So Jim, when do you think the bottom is? Give us.
Well, I
Lisa
think
says
that,
fall.
that the Fed has been very transparent to say that they want rates high for longer than people think.
Sure. Yeah.
And I think that what they really want to do is stop wages from going higher. And the only way to do that, sadly, is to have a lot of companies go under. Because there's a big labor shortage, and the only way to make it so there's not a shortage is to make it so there are fewer companies. So when you have Chipotle saying, listen, we need 15,000 people, and I spoke to Chipotle about it, I said, oh my God, there's not 15,000 people to even be hired out there. Well, you need another chain to go under, where you need to see restaurants and people from retail go under. You need Best Buy, I mean, and I happen to like Best Buy, or you need a Target, you need whatever. Just say we're not hiring.
Isn't Bed Bath and Beyond? Bed
No,
Bath
they're
and Beyond.
done.
Yeah, they're done, right?
But you need these other ones
Yeah.
where it's like, listen, we're going to lay off people,
Mm-hmm.
and it hasn't happened. So I think, therefore, we're a little early.
Okay.
I think that the fall a little too optimistic. Doesn't mean that the stock market won't anticipate everything, because the stock market anticipates. But one of these major retailers, besides what? Oh, well.
Oh, here we
you
go,
got
another
your
bet.
Eagles thing.
Oh,
Nails.
another
But,
bet.
look, I am very optimistic about the stock market. We're in a bull market.
Yeah.
But the bull market usually proceeds by about 9 months.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
so I think 9 months will be a turn. But that doesn't mean 9 months is great. You're
So 9 months is the term, but it's not a bottom.
Well, you could. It's a level where you may have to take the.
Okay. But but we all agree that from where we are today, it is a slower, softer descent. It is. There's no
Yeah.
upward.
Agreed.
This
But
is
no
only
crash.
Yeah.
These
okay,
people,
and that's the point. That's
there
I
are
agree.
people who try to
Yeah.
compare it to 2008.
Can't do it.
That's
I don't
just
think you can.
Can't do
wrong.
it.
The balance sheets are
Can't do
great.
it. We had a conversation the other day because I was with Wells Fargo for 23 years, and I was
great.
there in 2008, and I was with the best of the best, and I understand what TARP money was. I understood a lot of things I never signed up for, and we had a conversation with who was then my national sales manager, and 2008 was completely different. That was like ripcord. You better find something else to do for a living.
I know.
Right.
No,
Right?
Wells Fargo is my.
Right.
I run a charitable trust and I write a newsletter with it, which I run an investing club.
Mm-hmm.
And Wells is my second largest position because the Wells Fargo that is the Wells Fargo now has the cleanest balance sheet of any
Mm-hmm.
bank. They didn't do anything crazy now. They've done nothing that we couldn't all understand in this room, and I think that's important. This guy Charlie Scharf, I've mentioned him, but he ran Visa. He's very tough, and the regulators recognize that he has to do what they did, and that stock 5 years ago was substantially higher than it is now. So I happen to like the banks, but I really like Wells because they're the responsible bank.
Cool. And I grew up in that culture, and we talked about this with Greg. I was proud of that because they were always, although the narrative with the consumer was different, and there was things that went on in the banking world versus the mortgage world, two separate business lines, entities, those that understand, but they were always very in front of cutting back, pulling back, and saying, nope, can't do it, won't do it.
Right.
And that narrative never plays out always. But it was okay knowing as a shareholder because one of my best stories of 2008, he heard this, and those who listen to the other podcasts are going to hear this. We were at 35, 36, and it started to go down and then down and down and went down to $8, $6. And on the way down, I was still buying automatic payroll stock. And I realized it, like you blink, it went from 30 something to 8. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm still buying stock. I said to my friend, I said, what do you think? He goes, if it's a good buy at 35, it's a steal at 8. Just keep buying. And I'm like, okay. And we did that, and that turned out to be a good move.
Wells is appreciably cheaper than any other bank in the country.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons that is because people think that somehow what it did wrong, or what the CEOs, the previous people did wrong, is still with them. But there were 13 consent decree problems with when Charlie came in a couple years ago. There's 9, but they just settled the Consumer Finance Protection Bureau. That was the bad one. So that's why I think look out.
Yeah.
Look out. That
point.
stock is going to have a run.
Yeah.
I'm looking for it to go to 62. And no matter what we said about real estate, this bank is ready because it has no.
Well, that's
bad
good to know.
loans.
My friends over there will be reassured to hear that.
I like
So
a clean
cool.
balance sheet. It's the cleanest of all.
All right.
Every one of them, even small, even the small community banks got a better balance sheet.
So Wells Fargo is a buy.
Oh, but it's the time size ranch buy.
Wow.
Write that down.
Next to the Johnny Drinks smoking cocktail kit. Let's not
way,
forget
gotta
that.
love that
The
thing.
Set up
ambassador.
that kit as a gift to show people
Yeah.
responsible that there is something that's craft away from the craft bottle.
Yeah.
Right.
It's a great gift. I mean, we always think about what do you give people
Yeah.
that don't have anything.
Yeah.
And typically what happens is, other than the cardiac thing, no, that's
Sure.
Well, I'm saying you could go and get
Yeah, you can go deep
a
dive.
Jeff.
Sure.
But
I know what he means. He's just dropping
what do you
name dropping right now.
It's just
no, I'm saying that when I saw that, I said, you know what? I got a half dozen friends. If I got that from them, they would say, Kramer's
That's
like,
worth.
he's like a thinking guy.
Oh, wow.
He could
Awesome.
have bought me a bottle of, whatever.
right,
And
yeah.
he said, no.
So-
He bought me something that I can use at home.
Do you know what? So I just went to Phil's 50th birthday. And it's like anytime you go to a birthday, it's like, oh, what do I get? Oh, I'll bring a bottle of wine.
get?
I'll bring a bottle of mezcal. I'll bring a bottle.
Yeah.
You bring a bottle. And I'm like, well, I don't want to bring a bottle. I want to do something different. And my kit wasn't ready. And I'm like, what am I going to do? I go and buy a bottle. so now I buy a bottle. I bought this beautiful big thing presentation wise, and I don't even. It was a panther. It was a gold panther. It was tequila in it. I don't even know what kind of tequila it was, but point is, I go there, bring it. He's got 50 other bottles.
I know, that's
and
the
I'm like,
problem.
God. Right. So
And
anyway,
not that they aren't great. I mean,
no, right.
all the
Everyone
stuff I
needs
saw
to
in your
stop. It
bar.
won't go bad. Liquor
Right,
never
it
goes
doesn't- oh, that's
bad.
great, yeah.
We know that. But still, at the end of the day, something different. So we're gonna have to do a partnership. Maybe we'll put
Well,
our
I
smoking kit.
I just wanna help you on it 'cause I
It
like
might
it.
be married. It might be a good marriage
bundle.
here.
I
Yeah,
like
we'll
it.
bundle it up. Yeah.
Well, because I like things that are creative. Now,
Yeah.
I mean, it's interesting. I've been thinking a lot about alcohol at my age and how much you can and can't drink and how much I drank during the pandemic, and I drank too much. And it's funny because you're never supposed to say, well, I drank too much, but I just
Well,
said,
there's nothing else to do.
I
There was
drank too
nothing
much.
else to do.
Right, and I
It's
was
all
sitting
right.
around, and what would happen is that you would say, like, oh, my God, I can't have anybody over. I'll have a cocktail. Or I'll have, pour a
Mm-hmm.
nice shot. And then what happens is like, wow, that was good buzz. And then hey, I need another shot. No, it's okay. I want to speak candidly.
This is the
people.
page you could do it on.
I
This is
wanna
Johnny
speak candidly,
Drinks.
people,
This is
because
the
people need to
page.
know- People need to know that what I learned was you got to make it a little more special than I made. I made it commodity by coming home and having a cocktail. No, it's like special, like the drink you made. See, like that. You don't come home and you do that.
Yeah.
It's special.
Yeah.
And I ruined the special nature of it by coming home and having a cocktail,
Yeah, yeah.
tossing the cocktail back, like my parents did. My father used to come home, and he had the wild turkey.
A highball,
He had the
low
wild
ball,
turkey,
whatever.
wild
Oh
turkey.
yeah, okay, sure.
And he would it was a bad day. It was boom, boom,
Yeah.
boom. And it was a good day. Like, I don't want to have that. I don't have like the bad day. Damn. It's
Bam.
okay to tell the way it really is.
I think you're
That's
elaborating
good stuff.
a tad.
That's good.
You have to be. It's special.
It's all
And
good.
if I had the
It's
kid,
dramatic.
good.
see, I don't think if I had the
We're
kid,
gonna get you one.
Well,
As
I
soon
would
as
not
we
come
get-
home every
That's
night
a
and
prototype.
like, hey, let me just
No,
like
you're
make
gonna
the
do
greatest.
it. You're gonna do it. And you're gonna do a TikTok. You never did a TikTok before.
No.
All right,
See,
so we're gonna
we
get
have
you
to
to do a TikTok.
Charlotte Detwiler.
Oh
on
my
that
God,
because
her daughter
she is.
loves
All right, so we'll get Charlotte.
She is the cocktail
We're
lady.
gonna teach her, and we're gonna
Yep.
connect the dots.
Oh my God,
You
too much
need
fun.
to, by the way. You don't have. Okay, we're gonna talk about the TikTok, the other extensions of this that he knows really well that I've learned.
Oh.
Right.
At my age, I'm so proficient when I talk to people my age. They're like, "How do you know so much?" Well, I have a,
No, you're.
I have a son. I have my
you're
son.
masterful.
Well, at this point,
Maestro.
I just know. You know what? You know what? It's like anything else. You need to know this much more than someone else, and all of a sudden you're an expert. So I'll say I know this much more about social media than people my age, and that works. But we're gonna get that connection for you. We're gonna do the kit, and we're gonna do a little TikTok, and you're gonna do smoke a glass on a TikTok.
It'll be fun.
And you're gonna tag.
I mean,
we're gonna put it on our page too.
Look, I
That'll
think
be
it's
fun.
artistry. We were
all
Roots the
good.
other day. Roots did a really fantastic drink with your mezcal.
Good.
It was
Yeah, it was
great.
great.
Good.
I love the canvas of it, of what we bring. But I also just think that you've done a remarkable job.
Yeah,
And
it's
you've
beautiful.
you've created
Beautiful.
something.
Yep.
And, I remember when I first met Gary Vee, and everyone knows Gary Vee now. And he wanted me to come on because he was a Jet fan. I'm an Eagles fan. And I said, you know what, you may have something here. I think you got something here. Like maybe you got like wine futures. He said, yeah, so like wine futures. And I said, look, I don't understand that world. It's your world, but I read your book. And he gave me the 100 best wines under a certain price, and it would have worked out. And,
Yeah.
I like learning.
When were you on the show?
Oh, geez, that was like his first year.
Oh, like before he really started taking
Yeah.
off.
Well, because we live down the block from him.
Really?
Oh,
Yeah,
the same
it's-
town, do you?
Yeah, well, he's Short Hills, but it's
yeah.
right
I
on
didn't
Morris
know that.
Avenue.
Yeah,
so if you
Short
go make a
Hills.
right in our
gotcha,
place,
yeah,
I can
sure.
walk to his place in 15
Oh,
minutes.
cool. I didn't know
Yeah.
that. Cool.
And that's a
It's
great
better
store.
to drive though.
Yeah, it is better to drive.
Yeah.
So you were one of his first guests, and
Yeah.
What, you already knew he was going to be something special?
I just had a feel. I just liked him. I like him now. I did a show with him probably 2 years ago, maybe a year ago. And I just like him because he feels like us.
Well, your instincts
He's
are
very
everything,
lucky.
right? Yeah.
He always talks about how lucky he is. We're all very lucky.
Sure.
Except for the people who are really smart and knew everything, who we despise because they really think that they do know something. I like Gary. Gary was an amateur. That's what he told me. He said, I'm an amateur. I said, I'm an amateur. He said, how about, and he said, I remember saying, how about all those professionals? I said, they suck. He said, yeah, they suck. We're
Good
amateurs.
stuff.
That's
We're
what. So,
amateurs.
You're not exactly an amateur.
No, but it's a beautiful thing to be an amateur who's a fan. I'm a fan of what he
Oh,
does.
yes. Okay.
I'm a
I get
fan.
that. All right.
I'm an amateur who likes to learn.
well, let's talk about that. I mean,
Agreed.
so I'm curious because I know you talked about Goldman prior or after
Sure.
college. What does your journey look like, I guess, from high school, college, and then post?
Well, you know, I was a knockabout. I loved journalism, and I was the editor of the Harvard Crimson, and somehow I thought that was going to translate into, like, you know, Woodward and Bernstein or something at that point, Watergate. But I was very uncouth, I was a scholarship kid, and I would say I didn't know how to handle myself in a, I guess my father would have said, dignified way. I mean, I was honest and hardworking, but I was rough, okay? And I lived next door to the house where Ted Bundy killed those girls.
Right.
And
Told me that,
next thing
right.
I know, I'm a homicide reporter. And next thing I know, I'm a homicide reporter in L.A. because people like my coverage. I won a bunch of awards. And I'm covering everybody horribly, died violently. And then I get broken into, then I'm living in my car, and I'm just doing crazy stuff that I can't believe it was me. I still cannot believe it was me, the guy who's sitting here, but it was me. And I got very sick, and my sister took me in. And then then I got my act together. She led a cleaner life, and went to Harvard Law, and then got recruited by Goldman for sales and trading. Then I set up a hedge fund, and then decided to retire because it was really too harsh, and I did well.
How old were you when you retired from the hedge
I
fund?
was 45.
Wow. Okay.
And then I went on to TV and I'd done some TV sporadically, but I liked TV, and I did radio and then TV, and I was married earlier to Karen. Happy birthday, Karen. And we have two great kids. She's got two great kids, and we have a blended family. We do our best. Knowing, as you taught me the day I met you, no one ever gets married to get divorced.
Absolutely.
Right.
But it
Truth.
happens.
Say the truth.
Pain in the ass.
Happens,
the
and you
truth.
just try to make the most of life. And sometimes life gives you a tougher hand.
Right.
That's it. Roll with it.
Agreed.
So you, 45, you retire. You say to yourself you want to be on TV. What does that look like for you? How did you get into TV?
Oh, well, yeah, that's funny. There was a late great guy named Mark Haynes. He was a Philadelphia guy who had a TV show called Squawk Box, which was from 6 to 9. And I was running my hedge fund, and I would listen to him, and I would scream at the TV, saying, you know, this, you know that, you know this, and that. And then one day they put up his email. So I sent him these emails, and it was like,
Scathing
you know, I'm
email.
like, I'm following you, and like you're rowing drilling. I mean, like, do you even know the price earnings multiple rowing drilling? And then I said, like, you know, and then I said, like, I can't believe you like the banks. You don't understand what's happening because you like the banks. And then I get this email from him. It says, okay, big shot. You think you're so great? Why don't you come on and sit next to me and be my
Wow.
co-host?
Come on.
I said, no, I can't. I
afraid.
weigh 210 pounds, and I'm bald, and I'm short, and I'm not going on the show. I weigh 40 pounds less now, and I have a lot more hair.
Sure.
And,
You do not.
No, I know. But anyway, he said, no, you challenged me, and you got to come on. And I said, well, I can't. It's just too embarrassing. He said, you've got to come on.
Wow.
So I came on.
He challenges. Wow.
And I go on, and he goes, you're about to meet someone who is completely insane, but insane in a good way. I'd like to introduce you to Jim Cramer. Jim, what are you thinking? I said, what am I thinking right here? I don't know. I mean, I'm thinking right now this is the time to buy Intel. I would sell AMD, and I would get into Wells Fargo. He said, well, what else? I said, okay, well, I also like the drug stocks here. Look, there's a drug. Pfizer has this drug that is actually for... It's called Viagra. You probably don't know. It's probably going to do like $6 billion. I'm telling you, this is the one to buy. I picked Merck. And he goes, just one second. what the?
Yeah.
What are you talking about? I said, all right, maybe I should back up a little.
And slow down.
I
Wow.
love stocks.
Wow.
And this is what I do. So I eat them for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And I love them, and I'm delighted to be here.
Yeah.
And I came on here because you were kind enough to not think of me as belligerent, but to think of me as someone who's kindred. And I'm honored to be here. And my father and I talk about you endlessly, Mark, and how much you brought people into this, and how honest you are, and your integrity. And I can't believe, I was like trying not to cry. I can't believe. I said, Pop, I'm on Mark Haynes.
my
I'm on Mark Haynes' show, Pop. I'm on Mark Haynes' show. And he was like, he laughed after, and he goes, oh my God, you're like a real guy. I said, look, I can't believe I'm on this show. And then the producer came out and he said, wow, that was different. I said, it was the most unprofessional. He goes, no, but that's right.
wanted.
It was
That's what they
totally
needed.
unprofessional.
That's what was required at
totally
the time.
unprofessional.
Yep. You set the tone for something new.
And that's kind of what
That's
happened.
awesome.
And then that's how my career started, was being,
Wow.
I was on there, and Mark Haynes said, look, we went to commercial. He goes, can you stay like this? I said, like what? He goes, like the way you are. I said, I don't know another way to be. And he said, well, you're like the most natural TV. I said, I'm the least natural TV. He goes, no, that's the whole point. You are the least natural person in a medium where everybody's a pro and they all try to look as dignified. And you come on and you're just like shot out of a cannon.
authentic.
And you're not thinking a thing about other than like how you can get your point across.
And then that evolved into Squawk
And
on
then
the
I
Street.
then even they made me, first time they made me a regular.
So-
come on Wednesdays.
So he did Kudlow and Cramer first.
And then they gave me Kudlow and Cramer, and Larry's a terrific guy. He works at Fox.
Wow.
And we did politics. I hate politics. Like, you can ask me anything about politics, I'll tell you the same thing. I don't know anything about it.
Might as well stay out of it anyway, right?
Right?
It's all right. Yeah. Well, this was great, Johnny. What do you think? I mean, you've been very quiet and listening and processing. I know that. But,
Yeah, just a lot of listening. I mean, there is one thing that I had to ask. I was watching a show. It's called Eat the Rich the other day, and
Oh, yeah.
there was this man talking about this GameStop stock.
oh God.
And he was going crazy about how it's a bad buy. And long story short, I want to just get your insight on from the other side of things, right? How
Sure.
because I'm assuming you never expected any of this to blow up.
No, I mean,
like
I
it
was
did in-
when GameStop had this historic run. I happened to have an operation in my back. I was kind of out of it for a couple of days, and then I saw the stock went from like 100 to 400, and I said to
Oh wait, Jim, 100 to 400.
400.
That's a little bit odd.
It was.
Yeah.
He
104.
was out 3 days.
3 days.
That is-
Went from 100 to 400.
Oh.
So I called my producer, Todd, and I said, Todd, put me through. He said, no, Jim, you're like in the catheter in the hospital. I said, I don't want a camera. Just put me through. So I said, Carl, Davis, Jim, let me just rip up this catheter. Ah, damn. Okay, now that that's gone, I want to say everyone has to sell GameStop. Anyone who has GameStop must sell it. It's trading at 400 now. That is ridiculous. I have nothing against them. I knew the previous CEO, Paul Raines, was a great guy. People are downloading videos and not buying hardware that much. But you got to sell it. You got to sell it. And all I got to say is I got to go. You know, I'm not on any drugs right now. I'm just in the house of pain. But this thing has to go. And then my life changed overnight. In that I thought I had done a good thing. The stock plummeted down 300 points. But Lisa knows, I used to look at my Twitter feed every day. Like to send hearts to people,
Sure.
nice things,
Sure.
put pictures of the dogs up. And it started. The threats started. The hatred started. To the point where, like, fast forward to this last summer when we were with the CEO of Twitter, previous to Musk, and he said, this is now 2 years after this, I am in the top 10 most hated people on Twitter.
You are.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I just
Wow.
deleted his.
Whole feed.
So I
Mention.
stopped reading my mentions column.
I just got rid of it.
And I said to him, my top 10, am I like 8, 9? And he goes, MSD, which is mid-single digit.
Oh my God.
MSD top 10. And I'm
Who
like,
won?
Putin? He's like, ah. And I was like, oh my God, Putin. No, Putin fares better than I do because that goddamn GameStop call.
Wow.
You're more hated than Putin
On a lot
Twitter.
of days. On On my bad days, I guess.
Oh my God.
Wow.
No, top 10 hated. Because I'd gone to them many times to say, listen, is there any way we could clean it up? Is there any way we could stop the hatred? And I was with Ned Siegel, who was the former CFO when Musk fired, this Sunday. And he always felt so bad for me because he said, you're so hated. It's painful. We all sit around and he said, why is... Like, the other guys are all like people who are like mass murderers.
Right.
And there's Cramer who said, sell GameStop.
That's insane.
Kramer says still GameStop. And you're oh, it's
But
not
Lisa's
fair.
used
Life's
to
not fair.
the craziness and train wreck that is me.
Boy.
But like you said, and I think in the documentary you said it. This is a cult. These
It's a
people
cult.
Yeah.
were just mob mentality, hating on you for not even knowing. They didn't even know who you were.
I covered the Jim Jones. This was a long time ago.
Oh,
I drank the Kool-Aid.
boy, yeah,
I
drank
covered
the
that. I
Kool-Aid.
did a lot of. I covered. I did wrote a lot of obituaries. There were a lot of people who died, and they drank the Kool-Aid, and the Kool-Aid was like the fruit of the poison tree. They didn't have to.
Right.
Like I had mistakenly thought that once you got them in, and they were looking at GameStop, maybe they would take a hard look at Eli Lilly. Wouldn't that be interesting? Maybe they bought some. Salesforce.
Yeah.
Poor Salesforce
Yeah.
had its.
But it wasn't a long-term thing.
No, that was just they were in and out,
It's momentary.
but they still hate me.
Yeah.
Oh, well, we love you, Jimmy. Listen, I got to
Well,
know you now, and this is a
Thank
great
you. Well, this
experience
is fun.
to
This
have.
Is a different forum.
Yeah, and we're going to do some other things together. I mean, this has been fun. I could talk with you. I want to go back and talk history. I love that. I know you're a historian. You're a lot of different things. And Lisa, there's some common threads that run through as well.
Absolutely.
But we are kind of, we are doing our thing here and
Well,
going to leave
it's
the
just
audience
great
with
fun.
some good thoughts. Yeah.
That's
you got
what
a
it's supposed to be.
Yeah, and you've given us a wonderful narrative on a lot of different things. The mezcal is beautiful. We know we checked the box. We conquered that. We've learned a little bit more about Jim Cramer and the iconic brand that he has built, and the respect that he has, I believe, earned. And so as we kind of leave today, we're going to build and grow forward and do some other things together. I'm going to be on CNBC, probably hitting buttons and stuff while he screams out things to buy. But
We'll come to a
even
live
if you let me,
show.
Jim, even
Come
if you
to
get
a
me in the
live
studio
show.
off camera and I
We'll
can
get
hit some
you
buttons.
into
Come on,
session.
just let me touch. Let me touch
It
the
can
backdrop
happen.
of it, right?
It can
Just a
happen.
little bit.
The magic.
Because I'm telling you, that was profound. The impact that
thank
you had on a lot of people my generation. So,
Well, thank you.
my guys. So cool. Great talking with you guys.
Thank you very much
Thank
for
you guys
having
for
me.
coming.
Yeah, love having
to
you.
talk to
Good
the
stuff.
two of you.
All
Thank
right,
you,
cheers,
thank you,
guys.
thank you.
All right,
Cheers.
that's it.